the sound of Glorious, and this woman just seems incredible. I mean, what is it going to be like to play Florence?
Oh my God, she's an absolute tour de force. She has so much energy and so much self-confidence, bless her, in everything she does. Her joy is infectious, and it's so wonderful to play someone who really doesn't care about anything that she does or sort of what anybody else thinks.
Let's discuss Florence because this is a real person. She
Mm,
was known as the worst singer in the world, and yet she
she
ended
was.
up on Carnegie Hall, which is like the biggest of the biggest places to perform.
Yeah, she played Carnegie Hall to 3,000 people. And it's a bit of a weird thing because you just don't really know. Obviously, she was a true person and it happened, but why were those people there? Were they there? Um, well, certainly, possibly not to hear a beautiful soprano, but again, I think they just adored her because she loved what she did, and they saw that joy. There would always be, I guess, a few that were there to snigger and to sneer, which there were, but that doesn't seem to get through to her much. Maybe a little bit, but she was tone deaf in one ear. She was a pianist. She played at the White House when she was 6, and then she had an accident which caused deafness in one ear. So we don't really know whether what she was hearing was as everybody else heard it, or what she was hearing was beautiful, beautiful tones. She says, I have such full tones, and she doesn't basically. It is so much fun to try and find this woman and work out how to play her, being obviously eccentric, but not making it too over the top. She still is real, and you have to believe the heart of this woman. And there is so much. Yeah, you're going to come and have 2.5 hours of absolute roaring laughter, hopefully. But there is so much heart to it as well about being accepted, which is so relevant today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I also think it is going to be a challenging role for you because you did musical theatre, you trained musical theatre, you've been in so many musicals,
Yeah.
and you've got a voice, you know? So for me, playing somebody who's a bad singer must be hard. I've heard other people say, one of the most difficult things is trying to play out of key when you're used to playing in key.
Yeah, and I guess this is, to me, this is the biggest challenge. I'm certainly not a soprano. I'm a definite alto. So a lot of the stuff isn't in a range that I'm used to singing in anyway. But most of the songs, apart from one, I can, get away with and do. So it's now finding those moments where we adjust it slightly. We don't make it too bad because that would sound like I am really trying too hard to sing badly. We've got to try and place within the songs certain moments that we can use breath control, or we can go just very slightly flat on it, but without me. Also, the hard thing is me not reacting to it and smiling and singing as if that's what I'm meant to be singing. So
Yeah.
it is a fine line, and I think that, aside from learning all the lines, because there's only 3 of us in it, so there's lots to learn. I have to these 4 songs that I do, 2 big arias. I have to try and work out where I'm going to place it, and we're still working on that. We've tried singing it properly. I've learnt it properly, obviously, and now we're at the point where we are trying to adjust, and we're going too far with it, and then say no, we need to pull back with that. And so it's a really tricky thing.
Yeah, and it must as well because she's a real person.
Mm.
There's that added kind of, well, maybe it's a pressure, maybe actually it's a help because you've got, the background and you've also got the album. She
Oh my
released an
goodness.
album, so you can
Yeah.
hear what she sounds like.
Absolutely. Yeah, the dog thought I was absolutely mad listening to this album on Apple Play in the car. Yeah, I have been listening to a lot of her. I haven't watched the film since I was offered the part. I saw it when it came out, but I've also been listening to a bit of Meryl because obviously her diction's a lot better. Just to try and get the roundness and the fullness of tones and some of the words. But it is lovely to have those references, but try not to lean on them too much. And even though she was a real person, I've got to try and create, and I hate using the third person, but create Wendi Peters doing this role.
And you
Yes,
mentioned Meryl Streep. I mean, you are following Meryl in this one because
I
she was
know.
in the movie, gosh, about nearly 10 years ago.
2016, I remember going to see it at the cinema and loving it. But I very clearly, when I was sent the script and was offered it, I went, okay, I'm not going to watch it again. I'll probably watch it after I've done it, after we've finished the run.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take on anything. There will be bits that people will go, oh, that was very Meryl, because it's so beautifully written and it has to be done like that. But I don't necessarily want to take on all her nuances and, and some of the comedy bits. I want to create my own comedy bits.
Well, we know you can do comedy. I mean, come on, Cilla Battersby for so many years. That was going to be great for you because you're on home ground again. So, it's a
Always lovely
beautiful
to come home
theatre.
to Manchester. Yeah, it's,
It is,
it's where everything really started for me. My mum taking me and my sister to see musicals at the Palace and the Opera House. So it is great. And I also get great places to stay because I'm going to my sister's this week because mum and dad are away. So she's dog sitting during the day and stuff. So, yeah, it is always lovely to be home and hopefully there'll be some catch-ups as well.